Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning for participants from European countries. Welcome to this session. Today, we will discuss about the traditional plants and its potential use for malaria treatments in Indonesia. We will discuss about the challenge and opportunity. So in this session, we have two great speakers. The first speaker will be Dr. Iqbal Eliazar. He is the head of Geospatial and Epidemiology program at Oxford University Clinical Research Unit in Indonesia. And the second speaker will be Dr. Sri Fatmawati. She is assistant professor at the Department of Chemistry, Institute Technology 10 November, and also the president of Indonesian Academy of Young Scientists. So before we start the discussion, today Dr. Sri Fatmawati will first discuss about Science 45 or Science 45 as we call it in Bahasa Indonesia, and then she will give a brief description about the main discussion that will be discussed today, and then we will be offered to Dr. Iqbal Eliazar, and then to Dr. Sri Fatma, and then we will follow with the discussion session. So I will give the time to the president of Indonesian Academy of Young Scientists, Dr. Sri Fatmawati. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Henry. Today I would like to, first of all, I would like to thank for the this session, organization committee, and also for all of the participants, and of course my colleague here, Mas Henry and Mas Iqbal. Yeah, and so before we start the discussion about the traditional plans for malaria treatment, challenges and opportunities, I would like to share with you about Science 45. So, Indonesian Young Academy of Science, or ALMI, started was established in 2016. And at that time, we published one of the book that very important for Indonesian science agenda. So let me share you. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, just a moment. Wait. Okay. Okay, so Science 45, or we call it the Indonesian Science Agenda. This is questions about about the science in the future for Indonesia toward the century of independence from 1945 to 2045. So at that time, we try to clustering questions regarding our resources in Indonesia. So first is about identity, diversity, and cultures. And then the second is about the archipelago, maritime, and also bioresources. The third, life, health, and nutrition. And four is about water, food, and energy. Five, earth, climate change, and so the universe, natural disaster, and community um, resilience. And in seven, we have material and computational science. And the last is economy, society, and governments, governance. So in this eight cluster of question, actually, we try to, explore um, what we have and what we need to do for the future, for the future of science in Indonesia. And from this thing actually we have something different. I mean, we found that one of the important for Indonesia um, is not about the, it's not about the technology, but we found that biodiversity is the most important thing for us, not only for Indonesia, but also for the world. Because if we talk about the biodiversity, Indonesia is the biggest biodiversity in the world because we have more than 70% of sea area, which is this sea area. Of course, we still need to explore. And based on this cluster, yeah, and we develop one of the book we call it as science for Indonesian biodiversity. This science for Indonesian biodiversity actually um, developed from the third clusters. It's about life, health, and nutrition. So in the life, science, and nutrition, we have actually seven subchapter. Are we what we eat? Understanding the interaction between germs, animal, human, and the environments. Current and future challenges. How to intelligently combat infections. And exploring the Indonesian archipelago for medicines. How to remain healthy in old age. How to prepare for an aging population. And after stem cell, what next? And in this session, um, uh, we will discuss more about one of subchapter in this cluster is about the exploring the Indonesian archipelago for medicines. And why we chose this subchapter, okay, we realized that COVID-19, this pandemic, of course, hit everyone in the world, including Indonesia. And we finally found that, um, yeah, this this book was published before COVID-19. So we predict something, yeah, about the combat infection and also for the medicines. And we realize that COVID-19 itself is not come from, it's not come from the, from the urban or, but everywhere in the world. So from this book, we finally recommend the national investment priority in the utilization and management of biodiversity. So first is science-based ecotourism and science-based ecotourism development and bioprospection for drug discovery of medicine and energy, and also deep sea explorations. So this thing actually, what we need to do, what we need to priority, what we need to enhance the science of it. developing science and technology for Indonesian biodiversity, including develop science and technology to understand the basic characteristic of Indonesian mega biodiversity, increasing community participation in effort to manage productive and sustainable biodiversity, and also increasing utilization and economic value of Indonesian biodiversities, excellent, etc. So, talking about the bioprospecting for drug discovery of medicines and energy, actually we talk about the bioprospecting. Yeah. So bioprospecting itself is about the exploration of the biodiversity. Yeah. No, not only we explore, and also we need to develop economically valuable products, including medicines that derive from bioactive substances of natures. Of course, if we talk about the biodiversity, we talk about the traditional medicine, traditional plants, and actually we talk about the natural occurring compounds from it. And in this opportunity, actually, we need to discuss about the biodiversity, the bioprospecting, and how about the traditional plants in Indonesia. So I think from Mas Iqbal, Dr. Iqbal Ekjasar, he will share with you more about the indigenous knowledge, how the people use it, the deforestations, how all of this thing actually the system that we need to protect before other pandemic coming to us, and also before the traditional plants that actually they have, amazing chemical constituent that maybe they have they can be a medicine for the malaria diseases, and before they're gone. And I think when we talk about the traditional plants, Mas Henry, and also Kang Iqbal, they're belong to before, they belong to Ekman. And why we choose the malaria? This is actually we choose malaria. I think Dr. Iqbal will share with us why malaria. Yeah. So I think that's from my side, in my perspective about the Science 45. Why finally we need to we need to emphasize, we need to give priority to uh, the malaria. Okay, Pak Iqbal, time is yours.
Thank you, Bu Fatma. So,
Yeah.
yes. Have you seen my presentation already? Hello? Dr. Henry, can you see my presentation?
Yeah, we see your presentation. Please go ahead, Dr. Iqbal.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Thank you, Dr. Fatma, for nice introductions. And I would like to say thank you much to the committee and the session organizing committee who invited me in these sessions. So I would like to talk a bit about deforestation, traditional plant, and as well as the malaria disease that's commonly affected these indigenous tribes. So we have a study at Orang Rimbo in Jambi province. Is a type of indigenous tribe scattered only in 3 provinces in Sumatra, in 1 district in West Sumatra, and about 6 or 7 districts in Jambi and South Sumatra. I would like to thanks for Dr. Fatma to give the introduction of the Science 45, and then we connecting each dot of the science in 45, especially how to understand the local knowledge and the importance of dealing with disease, infectious diseases like malaria. So we thank you for the Global Fund Project and WHO and also National Malaria Control Program that provide us an opportunity to look at especially indigenous forest dweller at Jambi, which aim to understand the characteristic of these populations. So you will hear a lot about mobile and migrant population, and this figure actually represent the 9 types of mobile and migrant population that commonly found in Southeast Asia region. And this type of population actually are heavily affected by infectious disease like malaria, forest loggers, miners, plantation workers, security forces, short-term travelers, forest dweller, constructions, worker, fishermen, and refugee. A lot of evidence show that this type of mobile and migrant populations had a higher chance of getting malaria risk infections. So in our study, so I would like to show you what we have found in Suku Anak Dalam. This is the terminology used by the government to reflect the Orang Rimbo. And Orang Rimbo is as a call for themselves. So they call themselves Orang Rimbo. And you can see that they are located in the central of Sumatra. So we had carry out qualitative study in this type of populations. We came to Batanghari on November 2021, and we did in the interview and focus group discussion for 30 participants for these 2 type of data collections. So actually, we asked them more about the malaria and how the traditional plan used for their treatment and also their challenges to get the modern medicine as well. So there are about 30 to 40 themes of question discussed and asked to these participants. So yeah, when we look at the history of Orang Rimbo, almost 200 years ago, the Dutch scientists already investigate and describe the characteristic of Orang Rimbo. They call it Orang Kubu at the time. So there is a long history of research and investigations of this type of indigenous tribe. So this is the example, this is the illustration of Orang Rimbo. You can see that they have minimal type of settlement, and the picture was taken, I think, 10 to 15 years ago. But last time when I visit Batanghari, and I saw by my own eyes that the situation is relatively the same. The identity that claimed by Orang Rimbo is, you can see here, the forest is our nature's. Destroying the forest will kill us. This is the identity of this tribe. Gatherers, forest gatherers, hunters, rubber typing, hunting animals. This is the type of lifestyle that commonly occurred, and the portion of the productions that they consume by themselves, but also they sell the soul and the barter for another's product like rice, salt, sugar, and cigarette. You can see there is a custom for this tribe that they need to leave their existing settlement when they have a family member passing. So there's a perception that they need to find a new area to recovery from the sadness as well. So the problem with with mobility and the migration of this population actually affected by the range of traditional forests they have. You can see from the graph on the left, on the map on the left, you can see that the dot shows in the colorful region. This is the area where traditional distribution of Orang Rimbo inhabit. But since 1970s, government provide rights to companies to forest exploration, and you can see that the existence of the forest actually overlap with the traditional area of this orang rimbo, and you can see that they begin to lose forests a result of deforestation for transmigration and oil palm plantation. And when they have interacted with the newcomers or the plantation worker, their lifestyle also began to change. They learn how to use money, and they reduce the battering, and they intend to settle. At the moment, we had no precise numbers of how many population of orang rimbo, but some source said that they live in the Bukit 12 National Park with 1,500 individuals, and the Bukit 21 National Park, and several areas in Jambi, South Sumatra, and West Sumatra. From some study we reviewed, we identified the other recent scientists also identified there are three types of orang rimbo. The first one is the orang rimbo who preserve the Malangon. It is the nomadic type of life. And also the second type of indigenous population is a temporary settlement, and the third one is permanent settlement. You can see that there is different diverse type of lifestyle, especially on the nomaden type. In the permanent settlement, they have settled. They carry out no longer of nomaden activities. This is the graphs. This is the pictures of the first type of orang rimbo who preserve Malangon, and you can see that there is no difference when we compare to this picture with 15 or 20 years ago illustrations. This is the temporary settlements, and you can see in the right pictures, there are the orang rimbo already permanently settled in the village, and you can see that they have a clothes as well. So we identify the living situation for orang rimbo that collectively inhabit in the forest or the forest edge. So the name of the wood structures that they live in the preserving Melanon, they call it sudung. And actually the basic asset they have, yes, the household tools and the hunting, cutting weapons. So their main activities is caring for and tapping rubber tree planting, and also the harvesting oil palm, but actually they have less area of oil palm. They usually use on foot for transportation, and only few of them use the motorcycles. When we talk about the health practice, there is one thing that unique for the orang rimbo is basale. Basale is a ritual ceremony of pleading to God for the sick to be healed. And you can see that they actually use the traditional medicine plant for this ritual activity in small basale, or even though in large basale. And the main problem for orang rimbo is you can see that they're affected with malnutrition, malaria, and skin problem, which associated their poor living behaviors. And they have better knowledge on malaria danger, and they know how to use the mosquito net as well. There is a unique structures in their population. The leader of the clan, they call it Tumenggung, but there is unique structures that they call it waris. Waris is a structure for the foreign, for the outsider, when they have communication or interaction with the outsider, and they will contact the waris first. So this is the waris is kind of negotiator for their business. For health education, you can see that they need to give the health education, or health forces need to provide example first to convince them for health practice. Access to health facility, that's the main problem because it's quite difficult to approach the forest dweller who live in the remote jungles. And this is the list of traditional plants that use for them. This is published by Ibu Indriati in one area of Sukarno Dalam in Tebo in Jambi, and you can see that there is what do you call it? There's a statement from the Tumenggung at our study site that it's very hard now to collect plants for medicine in forest nowadays because they lost the forest. They live in the forest, and because there is a opening palm or plantation, and it makes them difficult to get the traditional medicine for them. When we ask them, the participants report the various different type of traditional plant for malaria treatment, and the common technique for preparing the herbal remedies that is included scraping, pounding, kneading, slicing, heating in a fire, grinding, then extracting the sap. The method of use consists of being eaten, drunk, or used as external medicine, applying to the body. So almost all of the respondents thought that their traditional medicine is efficacious for their health. So the conclusion of my talk today is when I've seen in the field that clearing of the forest to make way for monocultures is a major cause for the decline of Indonesia traditional medicine plant biodiversity. And overcoming this biodiversity loss will require rigid, solid, and legal protections. As we can see in the field that traditional medicinal plants have yet to be fully explored, and their scientific validity need to be proven. We also acknowledge that there's a problem that the Indonesian medicinal plant database need to be updated to reflect the most recent research work and the practices involving this medicinal plant. And last thing that I would like to recommend in this session is that we need to establish the network of the scientists and the project to mine, explore, cultivate, and test the traditional medicine plant in Indonesia. So I think that's all presented for today. Come back to Dr. Henry. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ibal. Very clear message that the indigenous people really need and really use the traditional plants as a medicine. And we will continue with talk from Dr. Sri Padmawati. She will give us some some important data regarding the potential use of traditional plant for anti-malaria treatment. Floor is yours, Dr. Sri Padmawati.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Henry and Dr. Iqbal. It's very, very, very good information for us, all of us, yeah, about the traditional use. And in my slide, yeah, I will show you about the scientific evidence. The people use it, the indigenous people use it every day for their medicines. And how about the science behind that traditional plants? Yeah. Let me share. Sorry. Okay. So, yeah, this is my slides before. In my laboratory of natural product and synthetic chemistry, Department of Chemistry in ITS, Institut Teknologi 10 November, Surabaya, we will share our scientific contribution to the development of Indonesian traditional medicines. So actually right now we have more than 20 students, yeah, both master and doctorals, yeah. The traditional plant that we have studied come from 24 provinces in Indonesia. So we try to provide the scientific evidence of traditional medicines, and you can see here, this is the list of Indonesian traditional plants that we have studied. We have more than 100, from more than 24 provinces. And yeah, this one is the list. But actually, in this session, because we talk about the malaria, we perform not only malaria actually, but we try to perform the anti-plasmodial from Indonesian traditional plants. And from this anti-plasmodial, actually, as you can see before, that we develop isolations. We develop the isolation from chemical constituent from the traditional plants, not only from one genus. We isolated from so many genus. But in this session, I will try to show you only from the genus Garcinia. Yeah. So actually we have more. We need more time here. And first, Garcinia husor. Yeah, the local name is Manggos hutan. And we found it from Maluku, from the forest in Ambon Islands. And in some local communities and also local peoples and also indigenous people in the forest, they use husor or mangustan hutan, as one of the plants to treat for the malaria treatments. And we try to provide the scientific evidence by performing anti-plasmodial activity using falciparum and also in vitro, both in vitro and in vivo. As you can see here, that the IC50 inhibition concentrations or 50% of this assay, you can see 0.3 and 22.3. So means that this one is proof. We have the scientific evidence that this mangustan hutan is not only can be used for the malaria treatment, but also we have this as a data. And we also perform the Garcinia, another Garcinia for Bezi, also from the Garcinia genus. And we collect these for Bezi. Yeah, they're known as red mangosteen, forest mangosteen, or Rosa candis, locally referred as candis, mundar in Sumatra, bunoh, itan, buah, teto, telato, aiti kikung. Yeah, and in Malaysia they also have this plants. And ethnobotanically, these plants, used as for the folk medicine to treat malaria. And because of this reason, we try to provide the scientific evidence. We try to not only did the anti-plasmodial activity from the extract. We have extract here, hexane, dichloromethan, ethyl acetate, and methanol. They saw the good IC50, 0.23, and based on this result, then we try to isolate the compounds. And we isolated actually more than 5 compounds. But as you can see here, we isolated mostly from xanthan, from chemical constituent xanthans, because Garcinia is have a lot of xanthan. So lysate xanthan and subalipton, as you can see here, subalipton and also the hydroxydes digarcigerin. So the very good activity, anti-plasmodial activity, and this is one of the data, very important data, that mangustan, red mangustan, can be used for the treatment, and we have the scientific evidence. Okay, we move to the next Garcinia, another Garcinia species, Garcinia celebica. Garcinia fabaceae, sorry, I forget to mention that the Garcinia fabaceae, we collected from the not Halmahera. But the Garcinia celebica, we collect this from the Papua, Merauke. Yeah. They crossed also, yeah. You know, all of this Garcinia is similar, but they're not similar. Yeah. We also check the genetics, yeah. And actually from Garcinia celebica, not only for the treatment for malaria, but also for tumor medication for the local people in Papua. And we try to isolate the compound from this. And, we isolated actually more than 3, but for anti-plasmodial activity, anti-plasmodial is for anti-malaria. And we found that isosantimol, yeah, very good inhibition, yeah, to inhibit the plasmodial anti-plasmodial activity. And this result shows that the local people, indigenous people, use plants is for reasons. They use it for, protect them and to treat malaria, but no scientific evidence. And from this, I think we finally found that extract and also the compounds shows the anti-plasmodial activity. And I think this is a very, very good opportunity for all of us. Yeah. When we talk about the indigenous plants, we talk about the indigenous knowledge. Actually, we talk about the people. Yeah, we talk about the people because they also, the indigenous people is also, as Dr. Iqbal said, the indigenous people is also the very important resource for us. Because, and if we talk about how we perform science to explore the medicine from nature, we have 2 kind of approach. One is phylogenetic, and the second is ethnobotany. And ethnobotany comes from those peoples. So I think this the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fatma. So yeah, so we have a question from a participant. It's from Nina Tamam. So the question is, I'm curious how effective the traditional plan compared to the malaria drugs such as Kina or others for malaria treatment. Maybe the question is for both of you. If you have any idea, please. Dr. Fatma
Yes.
first or Dr. Iqbal? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, Dr. Iqbal first.
I think I'm going to start first. Thank you, Bu Nina, for very good questions. And I think we not forget about the quinine itself, that it's extracted from bark. This is the traditional medicine plant that used in South America and bring to us, to Indonesia in I think in 18th centuries as well. So all of them actually based on the traditional plant, the knowledge itself, the uses of the traditional medicines. And then what we see here actually is what do you call it? Is the extraction of the active compound, and then it has been established in industry scale. So actually, there is a potency for the traditional plant medicine by the local knowledge, but as a science, we need to prove it whether it's highly effective against the agent. Actually, that's why we have a type of study at the animal testing, let's say, for example, and then at the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So I don't see any publication that directly tested between traditional plant use compared to the existing malaria drug treatment. So I think there's a problem of ethical there, but there is still a lot of potency for the old traditional medicine that Dr. Fama then mentioned, that we need to test it in clinical trial setting. So this my response for the.
Any addition, Dr. Fatma, please?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Iqbal. So yeah, Kina is from the one of the natural occurring compounds. Yeah, and what I share with you, all of you, all of them, isosantimol and subolepton, they are also the same. Yeah, when we talk about plants, actually we talk about the secondary metabolite. Yeah, because plants produce a primary metabolite and secondary metabolite. So what we call with the quinine, also subolepton and also isosantimol, that's belong to the secondary metabolite. This metabolite is not major components. That's why we need to we need to work together. I myself, together with my lab members, we need to perform as Pak Iqbal said, the test, and we need to perform not only in vivo, in vitro, but also clinical trial. But we have to remember that the people there, I mean, indigenous people already use it. So we don't. We're not talking about something that new, but the people already use it. So I think that's my comments. Thank you so much, Bu, for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Iqbal and Dr. Fatma. Very interesting talk and discussion. Of course, from this session, we learn that how important the traditional plants for malaria treatment and other also diseases treatment in Indonesia. And Dr. Iqbal mentioned that how the indigenous people still really depend on the use of the traditional medicine. But now, as the land use changes over time, there's a threat of losing this natural potential. And as Dr. Fatma also said, that some studies have already suggested the potential use of traditional plants for malaria treatment. So I can see that there is big opportunities for research and development around this area. So again, thank you very much for the talk and the discussion. Unfortunately, I think we only have 2 more minutes left, so I don't think we can take one more question. If you want to give a closing statement, please. We still have 1 minute, 30 seconds each.
Okay, Pak Iqbal first.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. So I think this is the time to establish and strengthening the network of the scientists, finding not only for Indonesian, but also incorporating the other scientists in other countries, and we learn together how to make it useful for the humanities. So thank you.
Okay. 30 seconds, Fatma?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I think the most important, from this session is about that how important traditional medicines, biodiversity, and this is in the winter week of Indonesia and Netherlands, right? Hopefully, in the next level, we will perform collaboration between us, Indonesia and Netherlands. To develop malaria, to develop the natural occurring compounds for the treatment of malaria. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.